Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be the Change with Tiffany Lewis on Clearsource Radio. It is Tuesday, July 18th. I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. And I have a very special guest with us this evening. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. What is your name?
I'm Madison Speer.
Madison Speer.
I am a 3L at the University of Massachusetts School of Law.
You're, a what?
A 3L, so I'm in my third and last year.
Yay! That's awesome. Madison School of Law. Okay. Good. So tell me about yourself.
So I grew up in Texas, about 30 minutes east of Houston in a really small town.
Yes.
And then went to college at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Nice.
There I majored in political science.
Okay.
So I really developed a love of, politics and law and social issues and social policy. And so that's kind of what I think we're going to be talking about today.
Sure. Okay.
So with what's been going on recently, I know everyone knows that this presidency has been kind of crazy, to say the least, and very atypical.
Okay.
And with the upcoming health care proposal that this executive is rolling out, I thought that it would be a good time to talk about some of the health issues, specifically relating to women and how states have been reacting in recent years.
I agree. That definitely is something that we need to talk about and that the world needs to hear about. So why don't you tell me what the bill is or what the proposition is, when it comes into effect, and how that's going to affect us.
So right now it's still kind of up in the air.
Okay.
The acronym for it is the AHCA. I think it's American Health Care Act. It's how they're wanting to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, or the ACA, or as most people like to call it, Obamacare.
Okay.
And it's passed the House, but it didn't pass the next requirement, so they sent it back to be redrafted, because a lot of the real meat of the bill seems to have been really rushed.
Right.
And like they were just trying to get something out there, because that was one of the main campaign promises, was that, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare within the first, I think she said, 100 days. Well, that's deadline set for a lot of things. But yeah, it really seemed to me that they were being hasty and rushing it. And I think the legislature saw that too, and so that's why they sent it back for redrafting.
Okay.
But some of the major things that affect women are, first of all, there is a provision to completely defund Planned Parenthood. And I know Planned Parenthood can be like a trigger term for a lot of people.
Okay.
Growing up in Texas, I grew up in a very conservative family and conservative community. And so I know that a lot of people associate the term Planned Parenthood with abortion.
Right.
And I want to say from the get-go that, I am truly pro-choice. And I feel like a lot of people have a link between pro-choice and being pro-abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And that cannot be further from the truth. I personally believe that on that specific issue, it's every woman's personal choice. Like, everybody has different situations in their life and health factors and so many things that factor into that decision that I don't think there's any way possible that you could legislate a one-size-fits-all type of mandate regarding that. And
Agreed.
So that's why I feel the way that I do about it and not, outright let's ban everything.
Right.
But that being said, the major issue with defunding Planned Parenthood is that they provide so much more than abortion services. Like, abortion services make up a very minimal percentage of what they actually do.
Right.
They provide a lot of low-income women and men with STD screenings, cancer screenings, general gynecological visit, and, just basically basic health care for women.
Right.
And specifically for low-income women, which,
right.
That's really affecting the majority of the United States right now is the economic climate.
Right.
And so another aspect to that this proposal instigates is that they're also wanting to try to severely cut back Medicaid.
Yeah, I heard about this one.
Yeah, which a lot of low-income families rely on for health coverage.
And elderly as well. Right.
Yeah. And so those two things coupled together really, really restrict women's access to basic health care needs because the majority of Planned Parenthood customers use Medicaid.
Right.
And so that's one of the major issues that affects women with this bill. Also, the bill, the way it's written, it states that people can't be denied coverage for pre-existing conditions.
Right.
And while that sounds great, there's also an amendment called the MacArthur Amendment that was added that allows states to waive out of that provision and basically establish their own list of essential health benefits that they have to cover.
Okay.
Whereas under the ACA, the one that we have now, the federal government gave a list of essential health benefits that have to be covered.
Right.
And under that was birth control, FDA approved birth control, and maternity coverage.
Right.
And also, having children at a hospital costs a lot of money, and so a lot of that was covered under the ACA as well.
Right.
And under this new proposal, states can waive out of the federal mandated list of essential health benefits and basically pick and choose and say, these are what we're going to allow coverage for, and these are what we're going to allow you to opt out of covering.
Right.
So that's still big for a lot of people, especially women who've had C-sections.
Right.
Because that's the essential benefits that were covered that could be opted out of now.
Okay.
You could potentially be denied health coverage because you had a C-section.
Wow.
It's to do so.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's a lot of things are just really up in the air the way that it's drafted now.
And that's that hashtag, right?
Right.
I am a pre-existing
Right.
condition, right? That's what that's about?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what that's about.
Okay.
And so it just really puts a lot of things up in the air and at risk especially for women, because women have a lot more, requirements health-wise than men do because our bodies do a lot more than men do.
Right.
And so that's kind of why I hate the term, air quotes, women's issues, because, women's issues are human issues,
Yeah.
First of all, we're half the world. And so these health concerns that are facing half the world, you would, if it were any other, half the world, not just that, divided by gender,
Right.
you wouldn't call that a certain type of issue. You'd say that's a human issue.
Right.
And so, not only that, but, annual appointments. So women of a certain age and older have to get annual gynecological visits.
Right. Okay.
So, because of the way women's bodies are structured, we have to go to a specific doctor for that.
Agreed, yeah.
Well, men, on the other hand, they can have their annual prostate exams at their annual physical.
Yes.
By their regular doctor.
Wow.
And so, just because of that, I feel like women shouldn't be penalized because our bodies work in a separate way that requires an additional doctor's visit. Whereas men don't have to go through all of that too. So I feel like we should be given the same coverage option because it's not really our fault that our bodies do so many different things. You know?
And we didn't choose to be born male or female on top of that.
Right. Yeah. And just a side note, there would be no people without women. So.
Yep, I'm going to give you that one.
But anyway, so being from Texas, I've done a lot of research on some of the restrictions to abortion and women's health care that our state has rolled out.
Okay.
And one of the most prolific and influential ones was it culminated in the Supreme Court case of Whole Women's Health v. Hellerstedt.
Mm-hmm.
And it started out as a bill in the Texas Senate.
Right.
Which contained provisions including banning abortion procedures at 20 weeks post-fertilization.
Okay.
It required abortion-inducing drugs, a.k.a. like abortion pills.
Right.
Be used according to FDA regulations, which require that women visit the doctor in person for each of the 2 doses of the abortion pill, resulting in 2 separate doctor's visits.
Right.
And thereafter must be followed up with an appointment 14 days after that, bringing the total of pill-related appointments to 3, on top of the 2 that you have to have before you even get the pill, when you have to go in for counseling and an ultrasound.
Right.
So that's 5 appointments just to take a pill.
Mm-hmm.
And so that to me was crazy in and of itself. I mean, it's essentially a prescription medication. You know, for anything else that you get prescribed from a doctor, you don't have to go to a doctor's office and physically take it in front of them.
Right. Well, not most,
so
but some, yeah.
That was a little nuts to me. But the other issue, like the other main issue with the proposal was that it introduced these ambulatory and surgical center requirements, which on their face sound great. Like, let's make it safer. But when it comes down to it, even regular abortion procedures or like any other outpatient procedure that don't need to be done in a hospital, it would be the same as
it's a precaution, though.
Right, like so just like going in for some routine thing at the dermatologist. You don't have to go to a hospital for that.
Right.
And so so a part of that provision was that the abortion clinics providing abortion had to have active admitting privileges to a hospital located not further than 30 miles from the location at which the
procedure was going to be done.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And so on Tuesday, June 25th of 2013, Senator Wendy Davis, a Fort Worth Democrat, took the Senate floor and started what she hoped would be a 13-hour filibuster of this bill.
Right.
And she almost made it, but, as I'm sure you know, women in a very primarily male-dominated field have a hard time getting things done sometimes.
Right.
And a few of the male senators, I don't know if you're familiar with how the filibuster rules work.
Right.
You're allowed 3 reprimands before you have to leave the floor.
Okay.
And so what you have to do in a filibuster is you can't sit down or lean on a desk. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't, leave at all. And so she received a warning for asking for help to put on a back brace after she's been standing there for over 5 hours.
Okay.
And then she received another reprimand for, I believe it was something else similar to that. And then her third, just a few hours shy of the deadline, Senator Dewhurst issued her third warning, upholding an objection from another senator that her discussion of the fetal sonogram law was not germane to this bill.
Okay.
It's another provision. But anyway, long story short is that they tried to say that she didn't actually make it the whole 13 hours.
Okay.
Come to find out, when they go back and look at the roll call, they didn't start their roll call until 12:02 p.m., which technically meant that she fulfilled her requirement. But nonetheless, they tried to say she didn't get it done.
Okay.
So, Governor Perry at the time immediately called for a second special session, during which the rebranded version of this bill, now known as House Bill 2, would be considered and voted on. It was essentially identical to the one before. And it got put through.
Right.
So the impact of this passing was that prior to the attempted enactment, there were 36 abortion-providing clinics in the state of Texas.
Okay.
After this became state law in 2003, 14 of those were immediately forced to close.
Wow.
By the time this Supreme Court case was resolved, keep in mind, Texas is the largest state in America with a population of 5.4 million women of reproductive age.
Right.
There were merely 10 abortion providers open at all.
Right, and this was a few years ago. I remember when that happened.
Yeah, and the entire Rio Grande Valley had none.
Right.
And so women were having to travel hundreds of miles just to get these services.
Right.
And so not only that, so they were forced to drive on average 85 miles, which is more than double the national average for a trip of 30.
Right.
30 miles. And so not only that, but because they were so far apart and the restrictions in place regarding the waiting period,
yeah,
they not only had to pay for travel expenses, but also, to stay at a hotel or somewhere overnight.
Right.
Because they had to go back the next day for the next part of it. So
right.
So it was argued that this was an undue burden. And the Supreme Court found that, yeah, it was. Despite the attempted arguments that, this is for health concerns and it's trying to make these abortion procedures safer, they said it was a thinly veiled attempt to limit access to abortion, that in reality, what they were trying to do wasn't happening. It didn't have any effect on the safety of these procedures at all. It was just them it was medically unnecessary to impose those burdens. And so that was overturned by the Supreme Court. Now, our current governor, Doug Abbott, has put into place laws that now require funereal services for excised tissue after an abortion.
Okay.
So that means you have to bury or cremate
the
medical waste.
Right.
And, just on its face, that seems kind of sketchy because there's already medical waste facilities and procedures that are put in place for, public safety and health reasons to dispose of that.
Okay.
But not only that, a lot of cultures don't necessarily believe in funerals.
Okay.
And so that really has religious freedom aspects to it as well.
Okay. I'm going to have to switch you up a little bit because this is a G-rated program.
Okay.
So let's kind of get away from that a little bit and talk about some other things, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, one of the other laws that he put into place allows doctors to keep information from parents regarding
minors. Yeah.
the fetus.
Okay.
So, if they think that parents would choose to abort due to a child having a certain disease or mental illness, they don't have to tell you that your child has that condition.
Wow.
And then you can't sue them for it after the fact. That to me is the most egregious because it's keeping medical information that's necessary to the parent from them.
Right.
In order to make a fully informed decision.
Okay.
And that was the basis of Roe v. Wade and Casey, was that people need all of the information necessary to make an informed choice. And that is completely taken that way. There's no way that you can make an informed choice if your child has some debilitating disease and you aren't told it before they're born.
I agree. Yeah.